Dr. Eris gestured for Jessie to step into the quiet alcove outside room 412. The harsh fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead, casting long shadows across the sterile linoleum floor. Jessie pulled his heavy winter jacket tighter around his slim build, his brown eyes scanning the hallway to ensure no median interference could breach the proximity of Kira's room. "We need to discuss the next phase of Kira's recovery protocol," Dr. Eris began, her voice dropping to a confidential murmur. "The toxicology reports confirm that her neurological pathways sustained massive disruption from the highly concentrated synthetic hallucinogen. We are officially recommending a transfer to the psychiatric facility in Selkirk for a comprehensive evaluation." Jessie stiffened, his posture locking into rigid defense. "No, absolutely not. I made a structural promise to her that she would never be forced into a mental institution. Her historical data regarding forced psychiatric holds is entirely negative. That environment will trigger a secondary catastrophic system failure." "I understand your hesitation," Dr. Eris replied gently, holding her ground. "But modern mental health facilities are not the dark asylums of the past. It is not like it was when such places were used merely to warehouse people with special needs. We are actually helping people now. Selkirk is highly specialized. She will go on continuous telemetry to ensure the chemical levels in her brain are actively monitored and stable. If you take her home now, there is no clinical way to tell if you or she are managing it right. We cannot monitor her serotonin levels or check for lingering toxicity in a hotel room. We just need 3 weeks of strict observation to ensure her chemistry is rebalanced." That is it. Jessie absorbed the median logic, breaking down the variables. The doctor was correct. He could not independently monitor microscopic neurotransmitters. "I will talk to her," he finally said, his voice tight. "But I am the only one who will explain this to her." Jessie pushed open the heavy wooden door to room 412. Kira was sitting up against the bleached cotton pillows, her round hazel eyes immediately tracking his movement. He approached the bed, instantly shifting his linguistic register to match her required precision. He sat on the edge of the vinyl chair and gently wrapped his hand around hers, providing the grounding physical pressure she needed to anchor her processors. "The medical administration has proposed a new operational parameter," Jessie stated smoothly, maintaining direct, unwavering eye contact. "They are requesting a physical transfer to a specialized neurological facility in Selkirk. The prescribed duration is exactly 21 days. The objective is to monitor your brain chemistry via advanced telemetry and ensure your baseline stabilizes safely." Kira processed the new data, her brow furrowing slightly. The rhythmic ping of the cardiac monitor seemed to measure her internal calculations. "A psychiatric institution," she noted, her voice carefully neutral but laced with underlying friction. "That environment carries historically high statistical risks of institutional trauma. It violates my optimal parameters." "This is a strictly temporary calibration period," Jessie assured her, applying a fraction more pressure to her hand. "The medical objective is highly controlled. However, I am presenting the data for your authorization. I am not overriding your autonomy, Kira." Kira looked down at their joined hands, her mind rapidly sorting through the logistical impacts of a 21-day sequestration. "If my physical coordinates are locked at the Selkirk facility for 3 weeks, my financial algorithms will fail. Will I still be able to generate the necessary income to support my biological and environmental requirements? I will assume full operational control of your external variables," Jessie replied without a second of hesitation. "I will personally cover all your designated shifts at Robin's Diner. I will ensure every financial obligation is processed on time, and I will maintain the absolute cleanliness and structural integrity of your home environment. I will be your proxy. Your external grid will remain perfectly intact." Kira fell silent, her thumb lightly tracing the edge of the white gauze taped securely to her forearm. She stared at the thick bandage for a long time, evaluating the physical damage her own compromised system had inflicted. Slowly, she lifted her eyes back to his, seeking the unyielding certainty he always provided. "Will this procedure fix my corrupted data, Jessie? Will it repair the internal damage?" "I have absolute faith in medical science," Jessie answered, his voice functioning as a steady, unbreakable anchor. It was the fundamental bedrock they shared, an unwavering belief in verifiable facts, in predictable chemistry, and in logical restoration. "The science is sound. The telemetry will give the doctors the exact data they need to recalibrate your system perfectly." Kira closed her eyes, taking a slow, deep breath. Her shoulders dropped a fraction of an inch as the chaotic friction in her chest dissolved into acceptance. "I authorize the transfer. I will execute the 21-day parameter." Jessie squeezed her hand, a warm ridge of profound respect settling into his features. "I am incredibly proud of your logical resilience, Kira." Within 2 hours, the logistics of the transfer were fully executed. Kira was moved with quiet, methodical efficiency, her sensory perimeter tightly managed by Jessie, until she was securely situated in the specialized medical transport bound for Selkirk. Once the heavy doors closed, and the vehicle's taillights disappeared into the cold, concrete sprawl of the Winnipeg evening, Jessie did not return to the luxury hotel suite. His compassionate firewall shifted directly from a defensive posture into an active, calculated offense. Jessie navigated the icy urban grid to the downtown police precinct. The chaotic noise of ringing phones, median chatter, and shuffling boots filled the brightly lit bullpen, but Jessie walked straight through the sensory clutter toward the designated desk of Detective Ryan, the investigator currently assigned to the pharmacy breach. "I need to assist with the active investigation," Jessie said, standing tall before the detective's heavily cluttered metal desk. "I want to help track down the exact information on who deliberately inflicted this chemical sabotage upon Kira." Detective Ryan looked up, an expression of weary professional respect forming on his weathered face. "Have a seat. I appreciate the initiative, but these cases require concrete physical evidence. If we're going to prove that someone intentionally poisoned her, I need the compromised variables." Jessie reached into the deep pocket of his heavy winter jacket and placed a sealed plastic bag onto the desk. Inside were the shredded blister packs and the remaining pulverized dust of the counterfeit pills, meticulously extracted from the ruined floor of Kira's Gimli apartment. "This is the compromised inventory. The toxicological data from the hospital will verify the presence of the synthetic hallucinogen." Ryan inspected the bag, turning it over under the harsh desk lamp and nodding slowly. "This gives us a solid foundation. Tomorrow morning, we are going directly to the pharmacy. We will pull the surveillance footage to see exactly who breached that loading door the night before you picked up the prescription." "I will be there," Jessie stated firmly, his brown eyes cold and absolute. "I will do whatever is required to assist the precinct in this operation." The detective leaned back in his squeaking office chair, observing Jessie's unyielding posture. "You're heavily invested in this. Most people would step back and let the justice system handle the heavy lifting." Jessie thought of Kira's absolute trust, of the mathematically precise way she had looked at him before boarding the transport to the Selkirk facility. He thought of the 21 days she would spend temporarily isolated, fighting bravely to process a trauma she did not deserve, all because she trusted his guarantee of safety. "I am not stepping back," Jessie said softly, seamlessly shifting back to the normal median syntax, but layering it with a terrifyingly calm conviction. "I am going to do everything in my power to finish this, detective, because I love her." The icy wind, sweeping off Lake Winnipeg, felt like a physical blow as Jessie stepped off the morning bus. He pulled his heavy winter layers tighter against his slim frame, lowering his chin into his scarf. The transition from the chaotic concrete sprawl of Winnipeg back to the isolated, freezing lakeside environment of Gimli was jarring, but his objective was absolute. Kira was secured within her 21-day specialized telemetry hold at the Selkirk facility, doing the exhausting work of rebalancing her internal variables. Jessie's duty was to maintain her external grid, ensuring that when she returned, her world would be exactly as she left it. He pushed open the glass door of Robin's diner, the familiar chime announcing his arrival. The neon open sign buzzed its steady, low frequency against the window, casting a faint yellow glow over the maroon vinyl booths. Mrs. Henderson was already behind the counter counting the morning float. She looked up, her expression softening into immediate relief when she saw him. "You made it," she said, closing the register drawer with a metallic clack. "I said I would," Jessie replied, offering a warm, humble smile. He slipped out of his thick coat and hung it in the back room before pulling on the maroon apron. He walked over to Kira's designated prep station. The area was quiet without her soft humming, the absence of her methodical movements leaving a distinct void in the diner's atmosphere. Jessie ran a clean towel over the stainless steel counter, aligning the syrup bottles and napkin dispensers to the exact mathematical precision Kira required. He was her proxy. He would function flawlessly in her place. By 8 o'clock, the morning rush hit. The diner filled with the median population of Gimli, fishermen, local merchants, and retirees escaping the bitter cold. The acoustic environment grew loud and unpredictable, a chaotic blend of clinking ceramic mugs, scraping chairs, and overlapping conversations. Jessie moved through the narrow aisles with quiet efficiency. He poured dark roast coffee, cleared plates of half-eaten eggs, and wiped down tables. He spoke normally to the customers, offering polite nods and brief, respectful greetings, but he kept his focus sharp. Jessie knew Darcy's tactics. He knew she would use Kira's absence as a weapon, twisting the medical hold at Selkirk into a narrative of permanent incapacity. Darcy needed the town to believe Kira was broken, a robotic anomaly incapable of functioning in normal society, all to retroactively justify her own malicious actions. Jessie kept his ears open, tuning his hearing to the undercurrent of the diner's ambient chatter as he worked. It did not take long for the poison to surface. "I heard they finally locked her up," a woman in a heavy wool sweater whispered to her companion in booth 4. Jessie was wiping down the adjacent table, his movements steady and unbroken. "Darcy said the poor girl had a complete psychotic break in the city, screaming, thrashing around in some hotel pool. They had to haul her away in a straitjacket." "It's a shame, but not surprising," the companion replied, stirring a packet of sugar into his tea. "She always was a bit off, wasn't she? Darcy told my daughter that she's in a permanent ward now, gone for good." Jessie's jaw tightened, but he did not miss a beat. He gathered the empty coffee cups from his table, stacking them with smooth, controlled motions. Inside, a fierce, protective anger burned through his chest. The rumors were vicious, calculated lies designed to isolate Kira and strip away her dignity. Darcy was actively contaminating Kira's operational perimeter, seeding the environment with hostile variables. More whispers drifted from the counter later in the morning. A local mechanic leaned in to speak to the gray-suited man who frequented the diner. "Hear about the redhead, the one who used to work the prep station? Word is she lost her mind entirely. Drugs involved, they say. Darcy was talking about it over at the hardware store. Said the girl is a complete liability. Guess the diner will have to find someone normal to replace her." No one in the diner knew that the gossip bothered Jessie. Outwardly, he remained an unyielding rock. He did not slam plates down. He did not glare at the offending customers, and he did not engage in the petty drama. To react with anger would be to validate Darcy's chaotic narrative. It would give the medians exactly what they wanted: a show, a dramatic confirmation that the situation was spiraling out of control. Instead, Jessie anchored himself in humility and respect for Kira's boundaries. He poured the coffee. He smiled politely. He absorbed the social friction without letting a single crack show in his armor, protecting Kira's reputation through absolute, stoic professionalism. The lunch rush faded into a quiet, dragging afternoon. The bitter wind howled against the frosted glass of the diner windows, rattling the frames. The last of the gossiping locals paid their bills and shuffled out into the freezing cold. The diner grew silent, save for the rhythmic humming of the commercial refrigerators. Jessie stood at the prep station, methodically sanitizing the surface for the fourth time. He checked the alignment of the salt and pepper shakers, ensuring the gaps between them were perfectly uniform. He wanted the environment to be a flawless sanctuary for her return. Mrs. Henderson approached the counter, carrying a stack of fresh menus. She watched him work for a moment, her eyes heavy with an unspoken understanding. She had heard the whispers, too. She knew exactly what Darcy was doing to the town's perception of her favorite employee. Jessie set the sanitizing cloth down. He looked at the empty diner, then turned his big brown eyes to the older woman. His voice was steady, grounded in unwavering resolve. "Mrs. Henderson," Jessie said, keeping his tone perfectly even. "We cannot allow these false variables to propagate within this environment. The rumors Darcy is spreading are an active threat to Kira's safety and dignity." Mrs. Henderson sighed, resting a hand on the polished countertop. "I know, Jessie. It makes my blood boil hearing them talk about my girl that way. Darcy's been planting those lies all over town since yesterday. People are eating it up because they don't understand Kira. Then we need to establish a clear, undeniable boundary," Jessie stated firmly. "Kira is executing a temporary medical procedure to recover from an unprovoked chemical attack. She has not been permanently institutionalized, and she is absolutely retaining her position here. If we let the median population accept Darcy's lies, Kira will face immense social hostility when she returns." "What do you suggest we do?" Mrs. Henderson asked, leaning in slightly. "We put a formal notice on the front door," Jessie replied. He pictured Kira's appreciation for explicit, written parameters. "A public statement from the diner management. We state clearly that the rumors circulating regarding Kira are entirely false, that she is on a temporary medical leave for a physical health matter, and that her job is permanently secure. We do not need to share her private medical data, but we must categorically deny the narrative of permanent incapacity." Mrs. Henderson's face hardened into a fierce, protective smile. She nodded slowly, tapping her fingers against the stack of menus. "A notice on the door. It shuts down the gossip before they even take their coats off. It tells everyone exactly where this diner stands." "It protects her operational perimeter," Jessie said softly, a profound sense of compassion warming his chest. "It tells Darcy she has no power here." "Consider it done," Mrs. Henderson agreed, reaching beneath the counter for a thick black marker and a piece of heavy cardstock. "I'll write it right now, and if anyone has a problem with it, they can take their business to the gas station." Jessie watched as she began to write, the bold black letters forming a protective shield against the chaotic world outside. He had promised Kira he would manage her external variables, and he meant every word. He stood tall in the quiet diner, an unbreakable firewall, ready to hold the line until she came home.